Okay, so let's talk storage solutions. It's been a couple days since I filmed the cleaning portion of this and the kind of tour, so if things look like they've been slightly rearranged, they probably have. So for me, I am a visual type of person, and although it looks kind of crazy having all the supplies like showing in clear bins, for me, this is better. Like, I obviously made the labels, but if I could just look at it quickly and like I could see the macrame cord there, I'll just go there quicker, you know, than having to like actually read all the labels. So obviously I labeled it just to make it easier, and then also because I'm the one that organized it, my fiance has to look for things. The labels will help him out if he can kind of like follow my train of thought, because I mean, hanging isn't the most all-encompassing term to put on a label maker, but for me that means any tools I would need to hang anything. So if I needed a stud finder or a hammer or spackling to fill in the holes, but you know, anyways, these containers from the dollar store, I think they were like $3 or $4 each. Not the cheapest, but for how many I wanted to grab, I mean, it's pretty affordable. They have like white ones as well, or more like plastic looking baskets, and I think black and white, or maybe colors too, at our dollar store. But for me, I just wanted to keep it simple, plain. I think it looks better than having too much going on and be able to see through some holes. As well, I would say if you have a lot of odds and bobs, like little things, like if you don't have this much stuff going on, but you need one kind of storage solution for little DIY things, get yourself, this is a toolkit, but get yourself just like a cheap fishing lure, or like a fishing, a tackle box, that's what they're called. Because it's literally the same kind of like makeup as this. Like, you'll have multiple layers, some of them like come up and out, but it just has lots of spaces for like small pieces of things and to keep it organized. That would be my biggest kind of DIY supply on a smaller scale organization tip. And then obviously just keeping it, whatever sense of organization works for you, because all our minds are different, we think differently, we learn differently, so whatever works for you. If you look at this and you get stressed because it looks chaotic to you, then get something that's more opaque and you can't see through the containers. I fully support that. Probably it would look better, but because this is in our crappy little like storage room / laundry room, it doesn't really matter to me, and this is gonna help me in the long term. So just do what's right for you. So I kind of teeter somewhere on the edge of super well prepared and hoarder status. So for example, if we open this up, we see cleaning products, laundry detergents, and other disinfectants. So you may think, you have backups of laundry detergent, and you have a couple of different cleaners and disinfectants, and in fact, you have cleaning vinegar. You're so well prepared. And you would be right. But also, upstairs, I thought we've been out of dishwasher tablets for weeks and kept forgetting to get them at the grocery store. And we have them here. So am I prepared? Yes. But did I know these were here? No, I did not. Additionally, we stock up on Bath & Body Works soaps when they go on sale, because who doesn't? They're the best. But then also, why do I hang on to the empty ones? I don't have anything that I can put in them. But then some of them are just too pretty that I just can't recycle them. And I'm like, maybe it will match the aesthetic that I will one day change one of my rooms to look like. And I'll wish that I had this bottle so that I could switch the kind that's in this into this bottle, and I will have regretted throwing it out. So, a little bit of a hoarder. Now, if we're talking kind of like storage solutions, we lucked out in that we have a couple of different cupboards that were already here that were left from the previous owners, and a shelf. But if you don't have that and you're trying to keep cleaning supplies together, little bins like this are perfect because they keep all your stuff together and clean and looking tidy. And then also if this is every single cleaning product you own, like this is just kind of my extras, because I keep the like basic things that we need under the sink in the kitchen. But if this is all of the cleaning supplies you have it in one bin, you can just carry this around the house on your cleaning day and it's gonna make things way easier for you. If you want something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, upstairs under our kitchen sink, I have a big Lazy Susan that I got from IKEA. It was like 10 bucks maybe. And then I just kind of like put them in a circle around, what's in the center? I think paper towel roll. And it just kind of has things beautifully laid out. And then also you can see everything that you have because you can just spin it. So those are my kind of cleaning supply organization tips and tricks. And also just keep an eye on, if you're someone that only keeps one of everything, like keep an eye on how much you have left. I have obviously a couple of most things, so that's not a big deal, but like this one probably only has a third of it left. This one's nearly empty, so whenever you can consolidate ones that are obviously the same like thing, like I'm not going to put a Clorox with a Greenworks because those are completely different chemicals, but if you have two of the Greenworks, one of them's running low, just put it together if it'll fit, and consolidate your life, and it makes for less clutter. Will we be redoing this room anytime? Yes, we will, because it is absolutely hideous. This sink is literally out of a horror movie. Like, what were you doing in here? I don't know. Painting everything, I guess, and like, this faucet has seen some shit. Also, there may be a hole in this bucket and we've repaired it with duct tape. Don't judge us. However, I think we'll probably do this room all at once, so that's why I just kind of left the carpet and all the cabinets as is. It came with a lot of storage in this room, which is nice, but it could definitely use a bit of a facelift. The washer and dryer came with the house too, which was really convenient, but the dryer sounds like somebody's being murdered when you use it, and it screeches horribly, so probably have to get that fixed or replaced at some point as well. I don't know what to tell you other than we're in the middle of a quarantine and it just makes sense to stock up on drinks and alcohol when we go out. Yeah, that's about it. You'll notice a normal amount of toilet paper, so not being greedy. It's a little more paper towel than normal, but Kurt was in charge one day of dealing with things and he bought like a lot of paper towel and no toilet paper for whatever the reason. This is where I keep any extra food. So we have a lot of, you can see like canned beans and non-perishables. And then this is all of my gift wrapping things. I also have a container where I just put like spared gifts or things I might re-gift. It's just really handy if you forget a birthday. There's a bunch of cards for like every occasion that I pick up when they're on sale. Again, a little bit of a hoarder, but also very prepared for anything. Just gonna say it once, buy in bulk, baby. Right now, especially when we're trying to limit our exposure to other people and limit the amount of times we go to the store and things like that, when you make that trip to the store, make sure you have lots of extra time. Make sure, if you have the money to do so, obviously. I know a lot of people are in a difficult financial situation right now, but if you have the funds to be able to do it, buy in bulk and get the things you need and get a lot of them all at once to avoid future having to go back to the store. So for obviously non-perishable things and not produce, but we have a lot of beans, we have, you know, extra rice, we have some extra condiments, things like that. I also obviously try and buy things on sale whenever possible. And if that's the case, I'm still stocking up on getting, you know, 2 ketchups if they're on sale, things like that. We don't go through them super often, but it's here when we need it. And if we run out, it's gonna not have to cause us to go back to the store again. It's just nice in day-to-day too, when we're not in quarantine in the middle of a pandemic, to just have things you need on hand. And if you're not planning ahead and having your list of things that are about to run out, then you know when it's in the middle of hamburger night, that when Tommy has the last of the ketchup and doesn't think about everybody else, you're not gonna be screwed having to have a dry hamburger, just as an example. This is the under the stairs storage. It's not very aesthetically pleasing, but it's as organized as it's gonna get, and it makes sense. So this is where we have all our winter clothing, Christmas decorations and ornaments, Christmas tree. That's also ornaments for the Christmas tree. And then these are old outdoor furniture things. So a couple of pillows and blankets that have been vacuum sealed. Plant stand, extra wine glasses in case ours break. My mom bought me and my fiance an 18-piece set. It is way too much because we probably use 3 at most. And then any extra wrapping paper that wouldn't fit in my normal gift wrap spot, which is there, just lives there. I don't know that it's necessarily the nicest looking of storage solutions, but in this room is also where we keep our Dyson, our vacuum. It's incredible. If you can invest in one of these guys, like, I feel like we're gonna have this for the rest of our life. It was a housewarming gift when we moved into our apartment, I think, from my fiance's parents. They're not cheap. I want to say they're like $300-ish, but it's light, it's compact, it's portable, it's chargeable. It lasts like up until the final second before it dies at full sucking capacity. That was sucking capacity, if you can hear. So I would really recommend it. And we use this space down here to have it mounted on the wall because it's not like the cutest. It's not matching my home decor by any means, but to have it somewhere that's fairly accessible, and even if it's off the charger, it lasts for like, you could use it for like a week probably if you're just doing a quick vacuum once a day sort of thing. So it can stay upstairs and live upstairs against a wall for a bit if it needs to, but just to keep it hanging, we keep it here. And this is where I keep all my kind of spare wood sort of pieces. I have some out in the garage as well. But this is just like pieces of an IKEA bookshelf that I took apart. And I like to hang on to them because we have the space in this room. So I just kind of like pile it all here because you never know when it could be useful in a future DIY project. If I'm going to be doing some shelves, I could repurpose them, like paint them, sand them, stain them, whatever. I mean, I guess it's Halloween, but you know what I mean. So just a little tip to hang on to that if you have the space to do so. If you're in an apartment, that might not be an option, but just throw it into your junk room like I do. Also, these black storage racks, or whatever you want to call them, we got them at Canadian Tire. They were on sale, I think, for $20 each, and I would definitely recommend them. They're pretty deep, like for scale. Here's our KitchenAid. It's wider than the KitchenAid itself. And when you place any sort of totes on there, put them sideways like this. I haven't had any of them stick out. If you put them this way, depending on the tote and the size of it, how many like liters it is, some of them stick out a bit, but they still hold up. Like the shelves themselves don't buckle. They're like very heavy duty, so you can put a good amount of weight on it and it's still holding strong. And they were very easy to put together. They're black, they're matte, they're inconspicuous. I don't know that I would put it necessarily in like my living room. Maybe, I mean, honestly, it's not the worst plant stand if you have a lot of plants, but all that to say, I would recommend the product, and I will link them below. And they go on sale constantly at Canadian Tire. Like, we had been interested in buying these at one point last summer. They went on sale, and then we noticed the sale but kind of forgot about it for a couple of days. The sale ended, and within a couple weeks it was back on sale again. So hang tight if you don't need them right away, and wait for a sale, because Canadian Tire has them often on a lot of their products. So let's just take a deeper look at all the DIY supplies and tools that I have that live on this shelf, because there's a lot in here, honestly. It's pretty busy. So first thing at the bottom here, we have all my office supplies. So this is anything that would be typically like in an office or in a desk. I don't really have like an actual desk that lives in this house, because even though we're working from home right now, typically we don't. So this is just any like staples, staplers, markers, extra pens, just random stuff like that I would have used in university too. up in this bin, there's really no rhyme or reason. They're just things that needed to live somewhere. So this is from like an old TV stand, I guess. I don't even know which one that would be, but they're pieces if we ever need them. And then back there is like fishing things for my fiance. These next 3 things are just things that the old owners left that I didn't want to throw out because I thought they could come in handy one day. So there's a recessed media plate, some sanded grout, and drywall compound. Who knows, maybe it'll come in handy one day. And then up here we just have some like roll-on adhesive for like putting into drawers and stuff, and it's marble finish, and I got it at the dollar store just for a future craft. Okay, so the painting bin. Any paints that are small that fit in there, painter's tape, brushes. There's a watercolor pad underneath it for watercolor paints. I have watercolor in there, and then these are all the paint trays or makeshift ones that I made with Tupperware lids. The crafting bin is just everything that doesn't fit into another category, so it's mostly different colors of yarn and stuff. The label maker also lives in there, and then we also have like scrapbook paper that doesn't fit into it. This bin is just lighting, so all it is different light bulbs that we have of different wattages and voltages, keeps everything in one spot. The macrame bin is pretty straightforward. It doesn't end in ing like the rest of the labels, if anyone else noticed. I know it bugs me too. But this is just all my macrame cord, jute, twine, that kind of stuff that I have, and then wood beads. And I use them to make like macrame pieces or hangings and plant holders. Time for sanding and staining. Okay, so all of the stains that we have live in here. We have a cream wax that should honestly be with the painting supplies, and then the sandpaper that you would use by hand, the sandpaper pads for the orbital sander. We have a bunch of cloths to wipe off any like dust, and then also a bandana to cover your face because safety comes first, boys and girls. Up here we have the taping and caulking bin, so any type of tape or like sticky sort of adhesive stuff. So we have duct tape, tuck tape, painter's tape, froggy tape. Under there we have like a iron-on adhesive. We also have the sticky kind of things that go on the bottom of your like your chairs so that they don't scrape the floor. And then I think there's also some sort of like, I don't know, plumbing things in there. This is just kind of like, it wasn't that full of a container, so I might have thrown some like random bits in there to fill, like labels that's sticky, so kind of, it works, right? This is a fun little spot. So these are all the knobs that I have and have acquired in kind of just doing like different upcycling projects and just like switching things out and modernizing. So I kind of put them into 2 categories. So we have on top the more vintage knobs, so those are the older ones, and then underneath these are more modern. So you can see some of them are wood, very like circular. There's like some more modern brass pulls in there, but the ones on top are definitely like the more vintage and stuff. And then back here we have WD-40. It gets its own spot because it's the best and can be used for anything. Like I had mentioned, this is anything you would need to hang something like a photo, a mirror, whatever into the wall. So that also includes after the fact filling in any holes. So we have spackling, tape measure, hammer, stud finder. I think there's the screwdrivers in there as well with all the different bits and pieces. And then I have a couple anchor and screw kits in the back there, just of various sizes if you need a hardcore anchor versus one that's a little bit smaller. Like, we have you covered, we have options here, and it's all in one spot, so it's easy to find. This is probably one of the most used containers, I would say, just because there's so much stuff that it's useful for. This is everything drilling related underneath. So obviously the drill itself, we have a DeWalt drill. So there's also a carrier bag it came in, the little pieces that you can put in the drill bits. There's some different drill bits back there, the charger and an extra battery. So everything drill related lives in there, quick and easy to get to. Like I said, this toolbox is really useful just for like smaller things that don't have a home anywhere else. So you can see it's just a mishmash of different things. This I think is supposed to live in the toolbox beside, so I should put that back in its spot. But just like a random screws that we had like that were in the drywall, for example, and we pulled out, or if we were switching out the blinds and things like that. I always hang on to the extra hardware bits because you never know down the line if you're going to need one. They're obviously different size screws and lengths and stuff, so it's just convenient to have a little the extra sitting there. And then down here it's also just like odds and bobs, so different pieces when we first moved in of like leftover, I don't even know honestly, like I just hang on to it because you never know. Also, I know you're not supposed to have leftover pieces when putting together furniture, but we seem to have a lot, as you can see in this bag. So I just hang on to that and the different tools that they give you at IKEA to put together furniture. You never know if down the road you're going to get a piece and it's going to be missing a part. And instead of going all the way back to IKEA, maybe I just have the piece I need. So very helpful. This is just an all-around toolkit, so it's 191 pieces. We got it, I think, as a housewarming present from my fiance's parents when we first moved into our apartment. Or actually, maybe when we moved into the house. Anyways, it has like pretty much everything you would need. There's like 3 layers, so underneath this one, there's another layer, and then on the top, you can see everything that's in there, but it's been super useful. But I like to keep it like organized and all in there. Moving this way, we just have this measuring stick, like it helps you to get right angles if you need them, and then also just obviously measure and draw straight lines. I think the old owners left it, and then a handsaw, and then these are different dowels that I've gotten at like Michael's and craft stores, Home Depot, that I use for macrame hangings typically. Some of them I've like sanded and stained them to make them like a different color. And then these are bamboo like shoots or bamboo sticks, and I also use them for macrame hangings. I think it was like 3 or 4 of them for $2. And then just a pry bar that the previous owners had left for us, and seems like it could come in handy sometime. So if we come over here, we have some paint. So you can see we have some chalked paint. These are basically things that wouldn't otherwise fit into this container. This is just some color that my mom gave me. This were from our cabinets. This was from doing some touch-ups in our main floor. I got the color match. That's from our bathroom vanity. This chalk paint I have in I think 3 different colors. And then this is for painting and stripping varnish for when I like upcycle different projects. This is kind of random to put here, but it's just kind of things for our shoes that didn't have space anywhere else. So it's like a foam cleaner, a beeswax kind of like shiner for my fiance's leather blundstones. This one is a protector, like a sealer. And then this is actually just for him to shine up his golf clubs. And then we just have like a rag and a shoe cleaner or like shiner, I guess. And then this is just a leftover from a roll that I got at IKEA to put underneath carpets so that they don't slide around. It like helps them stick to the floor. And then these are just leftovers from like putting up blinds. So if we ever like switched any out, or if we had any extra like pieces that came in a package, I just keep them all together and keep them there in case we ever need more, or I could always like paint it if I had to. And then extra batteries. Coming in here, we have all of the aerosols and spray paint cans. So it smells very strongly when you open the door. I don't know if that's good or bad, but here we are. So this is all the gold and bronze kind of colors that we have. This is steel wool. I use it to shine up old hardware on like upcycling pieces that I'm doing and stuff. And then my fiance also uses it with that barkeeper's friend to shine his golf clubs. We have matte clear gloss, some chalk paint in pink and greens, some blues, black and whites, and that's another clear. So it should be over there because I am a psycho. Everything needs to be in its own place. And so we have black, white, and then these are kind of like browns and bronzes, coppers. This is just an air duster for technology things, and that's glass cleaner, and I think the other one's like a cleaner for windows or something. The old owners of the house just left it, and I just kept it because I'm a hoarder. So this works out well to have everything like being able to visually see it, but then if you want, you can close these and it hides the mess. So I found it to be really useful. And then down here we just have obviously a garbage for the lint and stuff in the dryer, and then the tarp I like to use for repotting plants, and it keeps everything nice and tidy with the soil.